Hi and welcome to Catholic Mom and Daughter. I'm Jennifer, the mom, and I am by myself today because I have just come home from my Wild Catholic Conference adventure. This past weekend, I was in Steubenville, Ohio for their Defending the Faith Catholic Conference. Now, I had never been to one of these conferences before, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I wound up really enjoying it. So if you're out there wondering, should I go to one of these conferences? What's it like? Is it worth it? I want to share with you my 5 favorite things about attending the conference, and I also have a couple of tips for you today if you're planning to go to Steubenville yourself. So the first thing I really enjoyed about the conference was being there in person and really just even getting there, because I felt like I had a million reasons not to go. It's a really busy time of year. School is about to start. And if I'm going to travel 10 hours and spend the money, why don't I just go somewhere like the beach? I mean, why Steubenville, Ohio? So I felt like I could just attend a virtual conference online, or for that matter, just watch Catholic talks on YouTube, but it's just not the same. So I felt like planning the trip and going there in person really kind of shook me out of my comfortable rut, and it forced me to give that time only to God. Sometimes I'm not really good if I sign up to go to a virtual conference. Other things come up and I don't really even ever watch the lectures. So having this time set aside just for God turned out to be a huge blessing for me. My second favorite thing about going to the conference was being able to see all my favorite Catholic authors and speakers all in one place in real life, which is something I never thought would happen. I was able to go to lectures with Scott Hahn, Trent Horn, Matt Fradd, Mary Healy, Al Cresta. I was like in Catholic Disneyland. So I want to tell you, if you're wondering if they are as smart and funny and faithful and knowledgeable in real life as what you see on the internet, the answer is yes, they absolutely are. They are amazing. And they are also very patient with strange women who run up to them and say, "Oh, it's Matt Fradd. Will you let me take a picture with you?" My third favorite thing about the conference was how it was the best of all Catholic worlds colliding. There was a contemporary praise and worship band there that also sang Tantum Ergo. There were charismatic Catholics there were Latin Mass lovers, there were college students, there were old people, young people, priests and religious, all kinds of Catholics, and everyone got along. Everyone was kind and patient and helpful, and walking around the campus, you could feel the joy in the air, which was so cool. One of the benefits of having so many priests in one place was that the conference was able to offer confession on a nearly continual basis throughout the day. You just had to walk over to the chapel, and the line was usually pretty short, so that was so awesome. Also, if you needed a priest for any reason at all, pretty much all you had to do was look around. At one point on Saturday, I was with my friends and we needed a priest to answer a question for us. So I said, let's just stand here on the sidewalk and wait for a priest to walk by. And that took about 30 seconds. And the fourth thing that I really enjoyed about the conference was making those real people, real life connections. Now, I drove from South Carolina 10 hours in the car with a friend of mine from church, and we talked the entire way there and the entire way back, because we realized that even though we see each other fairly often, we very rarely get to sit down and have a large block of time just to talk. So it was so nice just to have that time one-on-one. When we got to the conference, there was another couple from our church already there. They had gotten there a couple of days earlier, and they were so happy to see us, and we were so happy to see them. We were just pilgrims from South Carolina in a strange land, but they could take us all around the campus and tell us, how things worked, where to get dinner, where to park, and just that sense of family and connection, that is something that you cannot buy. We also met people from all over the country, especially during the meal times and just in between lectures. But then even during the lectures, we met people. For instance, I went to Trent Horn's Persuasive Pro-Life lecture, and he had us pair up with the person sitting next to us. One of us was pro-abortion and one of us was pro-life, and we had to argue with each other. So I was able to get to know this college student, and she was so interesting to talk to. She told me that at her college, abortion is a very hot topic of discussion that comes up practically daily. early. So that made me realize again how important it is to keep talking to our kids about this subject. And the fifth and final thing that I want to talk about today that I really appreciated about the conference was how well organized it was. Franciscan University has been putting on these conferences for something like 30 years, so they really have it down. When I checked in, the process went super smoothly. I got a paper map of the campus with pilgrimage sites on the back. I also got this little thing. I could download the phone app, and then in my phone I had the map, I had the lecture schedule, I had the meal times, I had everything I needed, so that was super handy to have it all right there on my phone. The campus itself is very beautiful. It's not huge, so you're not going to get lost. You're going to be able to find where you need to go pretty easily. And even though there were a ton of people at the conference, I think 750, it was still very easy to find a quiet place if you wanted to just get away and pray or reflect. Parking, that was something that I was super worried about going in. I didn't want to park in the wrong spot or get towed or get a ticket. I didn't know, would there be enough parking? For some reason, I was super stressed about parking, but there were plenty of parking spaces. You could just park anywhere, so that was completely a non-issue. Now I have a couple of tips for you about planning a trip to Steubenville, and the first thing that I thought was really helpful was to sign up for the conference meal plan. I was sitting at home and wondering, do I really want to do this? But I did, and I was so glad because it made the meals so easy. Steubenville is not a super large town, and not having to go off campus and try to find a place to eat and worry about getting back in time was really a stress reliever for me. All I had to do was show up at this big white tent called the Glory Tent, and 3 meals a day, boom, just served, ready to go. And the food was really good. Yes, we did have some form of potato at every single meal, but I didn't care because the food was good and I didn't have to cook it. Also, eating with everyone else in the big tent was a great way to meet people, and you can eat outside in July in Ohio because the weather is delightful. It was 75 to 80 degrees every day with very low humidity. Back home in South Carolina, it was 97 degrees with 90% humidity, and nobody was going outside for anything. So to have this great weather and have all this great fellowship at the meals was definitely worth it. So 2 thumbs up for the meal plan. My second tip is about conference lodging. If you're going to Steubenville, you pretty much have 2 places to choose from for the conference. You can stay in a hotel or you can stay on campus in one of the dorms. My friend and I decided to get a hotel room. We waited until about 6 weeks before the conference to book that, which was too long because there are not a lot of places to stay and they fill up quickly. But still, we found a hotel in a nearby town only 12 minutes away, which was a national hotel with a good reputation. So we felt pretty good about staying there. However, this is where the wild adventure part of the conference comes in because I'm not sure what was going on at that hotel, but there was something really wrong there, and it was scary with a capital S to stay there. We had a series of unfortunate events that occurred all through the night, and so the next morning we knew we need to find another hotel. And it just so happens that across from the university there is a Best Western hotel called the Best Western at Franciscan Square that looked really nice. So I'm talking 6:30 in the morning, we pull into their parking lot and just went in and threw ourselves on their mercy and said, please, do you have a room for tonight? And they did. So that's where we stayed the second night, and it was fine. It was just a lovely hotel. People were friendly. It was very clean. No weird things happened during the night. But do book really far ahead if you're planning or even thinking about going to one of these conferences next year because it does fill up really quickly. You could also elect to stay in the dorm, and our friends from church who met us at the conference, that's what they did. They stayed on campus in the dorm. They got there a few days early, so they had several nights in the dorm, and they said that for a couple of nights, the dorm would have been fine, but for a few nights in a row, it was not ideal because the sound just came through the walls. If you were a light sleeper, it was hard to get a good night's sleep. So that's something to take into consideration if you're thinking about staying in the dorms. So now, if you are wondering what conferences they're having next summer, the summer of 2022, I have a whole list of the conferences that will be offered. So I will put a picture of that up on the screen. I'll also link it down below in the description box, a link right to the Steubenville University. And I'll also put the link for the hotel that I liked and recommend, the Best Western. I'll put that down in the description box as well. So let me know in the comments, have you been to a Catholic conference recently? What did you like? Have you ever been to Steubenville? I would love to hear what you thought about that. If you have any questions about the conference, just leave those for me in the comment box and I will be happy to answer them as best I can. As always, thanks for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.